Hey guys.
MS is like riding in the headlights, but I keep
Over the weekend,
Does MS define me? No, it does not.
Hamas attacked Israel. I'm sure you've seen it on the news. And so it's now been 3 days. I am angry. I'm also heartsick. Because attack on Israel equals attack on Jews. But I come to understand that not only are Jews being killed, so are Christians. All we want is to coexist. That's all we want. We're not bothering the Palestinians. In fact, there are many Israelis who are establishing solid friendships with the Palestinians. And it's, as I said, I'm heartsick. Now, the Israel is calling this, quote unquote, our 9/11. And I can see that. I mean, it's true to an extent. But hatred against other people is hatred. Okay? And so while this all attack on America, okay, and the sterilization of children so that Americans can die out in a generation, that's their final solution to the American question. So this applies here as well. That this is the Palestinians, or I should say, this is the final solution to the Palestinian question. This is the Holocaust 2.0. With 800 lives, 800 souls murdered. Men, women, children, infants, tired old men. That sounds like what they did during the Holocaust. How many men, women, children, old people went into the gas chambers, shot in the pits during World War II? This is no different. This is the Holocaust 2.0. And it's all innocent civilians, especially those having a good time at a concert. This maniac, this barbaric, crazed maniac, monster, gets behind the wheel of a truck or some kind of big car and plows right into a bunch of people and having a good time at a concert. That hundreds were murdered at a concert. That sounds awfully familiar. Oh yeah, I remember. It happened in England when there was a bomber or something. Oh yeah. And there was that sniper in Las Vegas. Hatred is hatred. To murder people. So these sick individuals have no respect for life or property. According to the Jewish tradition, if you take the life of a fellow human being, it is said that you have destroyed an entire universe. Today, I report with a heavy heart that 800 innocent people were slaughtered, murdered. Men, women, children, old people, and among those, 9 Americans. Now, a short while ago, Biden, in his smart thinking, did that prisoner swap. But that wasn't enough. He gave in to the demand of billions in cash. That was sanctioned. So he gave them the money and believed their promise to actually, we wanted it to go to humanitarian needs for their people. And the president of Iran said very clearly, it will be spent the way they want to spend it. Now, if Biden was smart, and if his people were smart, they would have said, no deal. Trump was good on making deals. It was a good deal, it was a bad deal. It was a good deal, he went for it. It was a bad deal, he walked away. And I remember when Trump walked away from a bad deal, and Truman Pelosi said he stopped up with a temper. There was no yelling, there was no screaming, there was no ranting or raving. He just walked away. But they took that as him storming off in a temper. He simply just walked away from a bad deal. He said, no good. That's not acceptable. And he calmly walked out. Now, if Biden's people were smart and they heard this from Iran saying it's going to be used the way we want to, they should have said, I'm sorry, no deal. Now, is that walking away with a temper by saying, I'm sorry, that's not acceptable, and walk out? I don't sense any temper there. I don't sense any anger there. He's just walking away from a bad deal. That's all. But Biden didn't do that. He said, yes, we will pay you the millions of dollars. And no sooner did he do that than we have this invasion. As Iran is the sponsor and backing of Hamas, and so 800 universes were destroyed, and hostages were taken. And you know what that means, don't you? That means prisoner swaps. The bad apples are arrested. So they said, we'll give you back your good if you give us back our bad. So they can do bad again. No different than what's happening in this country with the revolving door of criminals. We arrest you, we'll let you back out. So you can do bad again. So you can hurt again. So you can kill again. So you can loot again. So you can repeat what you did to get arrested in the first place. And when Obama did that at the end of his term, let all those terrorists out from Gizmo or whatever the hell it was, I said to myself, you know, I'm sure they're going to do bad again. They're not going to think to themselves, I learned my lesson, I'm not going to do that again. No. They're going to commit terror again. And I wouldn't be surprised if among the those caught at the border from the terrorist watch list were the ones that Obama set loose. But getting back to Israel, hundreds of concert goers, and like I said, 9 Americans murdered. So he said he rescued 5 Americans from captivity home. And what we got in the bargain was 9 Americans murdered. So we saved 5 Americans to come home, and in comparison, 9 Americans were murdered. 5 went home, 9 were murdered. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's an even balance there. That was, I consider that an even thing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And of course, 800 innocent people murdered for 5 people came home. 800 murdered, 5 people came home. Yep, that's an even balance. I think so. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now the thing is, those 800 lives are gone forever. Meanwhile, those 5 Americans in that prisoner swap, they were still alive. And if we said no, they'd still be alive. They'd just be in captivity longer, but they'd still be alive. But the 800 who were murdered, they're never coming back. Those lives ended. That's a done deal. You know, there's no going back on that. What, you know, so I consider that, you know, you know what I'm saying.
What did you guys end up making for dinner?
Chicken parm. Christmas got the recipe memorized already. It's natural.
Now, I don't remember if I said this, but I think I said this, but it bears repeating. Yeah, Israel said this was their 9/11. Yeah, and to an extent I agree with that. But it's the final solution to the Palestinian question, and it's the Holocaust 2.0. And there were human beings slaughtered in their homes.
You know,
My home is your sanctuary. Your home is your security from the outside world. And to be slaughtered in your own home, not from a crazed husband, That's horrible too. I remember reports where a father just murdered his wife and children and set fire to the house. The house is supposed to be your sanctuary. And one family went into a shelter. The adjutants tried to get into the shelter, couldn't do it, set fire to the house. There's no respect for life or property, not at all. So any sympathizers to them, they must have a hatred for life and property also, and no respect as well. This was all preventable. They chose to do this. Not like what happened in Maui. What happened in Maui, their Holocaust, that was nature. It could be preventable, but there was no choice in that. This was a choice. They chose to do this. They chose this.
We've had this conversation. I need to say.
Now, people in Times Square are supporting the Palestinians, and they're saying the Palestinians is an apartheid state. Nothing can be further from the truth.
You're right. We should enjoy this.
They're barbarians and monsters. Savage monsters. So, you are doing this for a cause or whatever. You're not showing your good side. You know.
Did this used to be a firefighter bar?
So, this was a choice, and this was so preventable. You know, and there's no love here. This is the thing that is, lacking.
Don't want to drink here anyway.
Where's the love? Where is the love for your fellow human being? You know, it's just nothing but hate. And hate is a cancer in our society. Because hate can destroy just as much as cancer cells do. And I've said this once before, that the Palestinian hatred toward Israel is the same exact hatred that Democrats have for Republicans. Same exact hatred. Same exact. And I still remember that reporter or columnist or whatever she was, who said, we must burn down the Republican Party and make sure there are no survivors coming up from the ashes. They must be destroyed also. And I believed her. I believe that's the kind of hatred that Democrats have toward Republicans. The crazed man who went to that ballpark saying, are those Republicans out there? Yes. And he chose to shoot them. That's the kind of hatred. It's the same hatred that Democrats have towards Republicans, the same hatred that these groups have toward Israel. And they've said it over and over again that Israel is the small Satan and America is the big Satan. And they kept saying death to America, death to Israel. And anybody who did not take them seriously just is disconnected from reality. They mean it, they meant it, and now they are trying. And now that we have 9 dead Americans, thanks to, this administration, and of course we stand with Israel, and we will help Israel. Now Hezbollah said, if you interfere with us, we will then attack American installations in the Middle East. And once they do that, then we will be at war. We will be at war, and rightfully so. They just opened up a can of worms. They opened up the genie's bottle, and now it's going to be insane. And if you think about the Trump administration, how many wars began when Trump was in office? Began. 0. 0 wars began while Trump was in office. How many wars began with Biden in office? 2. 2 very big wars began while Biden was in office. Russia against Ukraine, and Hamas and Hezbollah toward Israel. 2 wars began with Biden in office, while 0 wars began while Trump was in office. So how many lives were lost in both those wars? I don't know how many, I don't remember how many with Ukraine, but we have 800 plus, and it's still growing. So, this is a cancer. There is no love here. No love at all. No love. And this is hatred towards other human beings. 800 universes were completely obliterated. Men, women, and children. Innocent people. Innocent people. Coexisting. Staying in their lane. Not bothering anybody. They weren't bothering anybody. They were just going about their lives. But this cancer, this hatred, after being dormant and in the shadows, suddenly burst forth. And this cancer obliterated 800 universes and probably more. If you're trying to get sympathizers, this is not the way to do it. Not the way to do it. You say, oh my God. People destroying other people. This is the thing. Human beings. I remember this quote from Star Trek, and I think it was Q that said, The human species preys on its own people. Preys on itself, I think was the direct quote. Human beings prey upon itself.
Blueberries, right? Bananas for him.
And
You were scared of blueberries because of Willy Wonka.
the Jews, the Christians who lived in Israel, they bled the same blood color, have the same feelings, use their eyes to see, use their ears to hear, have children, have families.
You happen to know that.
That didn't matter.
Your social worker and the guidance counselor. Why?
Their hatred
Want to see how I can help.
is similar to the Nazis' hatred. I think that's a good comparison. It's a good comparison with Democrats' hatred of Republicans. But the hatred is the same as Nazis' hatred.
You're going home today, right?
Same exact. So this is Holocaust 2.0.
Please don't tell them Kenny left, 'cause that would
And
guys,
this is
got some ideas that might help.
to find a solution to the Palestinian question.
Just
They swore to wipe Israel off the face of the map. All they got to do is murder the people and they can reclaim the land. And Democrats could do the same thing about Republicans. Or the Marxists can just obliterate the Americans by sterilizing the children and can't do it. Yeah, well, and that's the end of America. To get rid of a country, you have to get rid of its people. That's how you wipe a country off the face of the map, by getting rid of the people. That's what Nazis did. They defeated Poland, France, and they defeated those countries, and they were able to take over. So the citizens were in essence slaves of that regime.
So we're donating it to your paramedicine program.
My program?
I was able to convince the department to fund it for 6 months. If you can prove it works.
So those who are sympathizers to the Palestinians, they're sympathizers to slavery. Not really that much so. It's really anti-Semitic. Even though some of those murdered were Christians.
So you were the boys' guardian when they were...
So,
Yeah. About 9 years ago now.
barbaric
Oh, they are.
monsters.
I never been totally honest.
Cancer, hate. Anyway, that's all I want to say about it. I have a lot to say about it. I mean, it's just, this was all preventable. All preventable. They had that choice. They were at that fork in the cross. They had that fork in the road. They could choose one path or the other. They could choose a path of coexistence. And so each person can stay in his own lane and not bother each other. I'll go in my lane, you go in that lane. I won't bother you, you don't bother me. And we'll coexist. No. They chose not to do that. They chose to cross that line and destroy other people. Like the Nazis destroyed other people. Jews. Jews, gypsies, homosexuals. They all were murdered. So they just shot whoever they shot. Could have been Palestinians that were coexisting. And I think they said, oh, you mustn't coexist with Jews. And if you coexist with Jews, you must be killed also. Because you're a, what's the word? infidel.
Always first one in, hands on, even in drills.
This is extreme. So those who support this, they're extremists and they accuse us of being extreme. I don't think so. All right, that's all I wanted to. That's all I wanted to say. I'm just so heartsick and depressed over this. As I see the death toll rise, it's just very upsetting. These are members of my extended family of Jews, like in the Holocaust. This is Holocaust 2.0 and the final solution to the Palestinian question. On that note, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening in. I'll see you later and hope that sanity will return so that no more lives will be destroyed, no more universes will be obliterated.